Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to PPR ACC round number 2 here at the Hungaroring. Currently have 6 minutes remaining here in qualifying as we are on board with Miguel Ruiz, currently sitting in 8th place at the moment here in qualifying. Have Alexander Seibel currently in 3rd, his fastest lap of a 1:43.7 right now. 3/10 off of Sean Morardi, who's currently sitting up top in pole position in his Audi with a 43.4. Also have a look here at Sosa for the Speedy Gonzalez team. Number 22 Porsche out there, currently 5th fastest on the track. Sorry for that brief pause here in commentary, but Niels, our race winner on track last week, unfortunately, after a time penalty given to him post-race, fell all the way back into 4th in the standings. But him and Seibel had quite the battle last week, and I'm very excited to see if those guys can maybe duel it out again here in Hungary. At the moment, looks like Seibel's just a little bit off the pace. Seibel's with that 43.7 still standing there in 4th. And Niels setting his pole time at the moment was a 43.4. It's a very, very nice lap there from him. Cody Pride, as we see it now, not in the all-white GTR like we may have saw last week. Glad that we have his livery up now. He's currently there in 8th here in qualifying. I have 2 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. It's currently 7:18 p.m. here. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in at the moment for what's going to be a very fun and exciting 90-minute race here in Hungary. It's really anyone's game, but as qualifying begins to come to an end here, see if anyone can top Niels, or if Niels is going to stay there in 1st place. Sean there, going to be on the front row of the grid with Niels. Niels now in the pits. Looks like that's going to be his qualifying over for him. We come down to 2 minutes remaining. If anyone has an answer here, as Sean is coming across the line and going very slowly as well, not putting in a hot lap. See if he pushes here for one more. We'll now look at Cody Pride. Cody Pride just setting his fastest lap in qualifying, a 1:43.8. Good enough for 6th at the moment. See if he can keep that, or if he can get passed up from the likes of Miguel Ruiz, James Warren, or Alex Trujillo behind him. actually taken on board here with James Warren in the Lexus. He went for the grueling no-stop strategy last week at the Nürburgring. It didn't quite work out how he may have thought, but at one moment he was in a podium position. Just couldn't stretch out that strategy like he may have wanted. See what he's opting to do this week here in Hungary. And qualifying is slowly coming to an end here. It still stands Niels, Sean now in the pits, so no more lap times going to be set from him. Luke Walker, however, in third. See what he has to offer in his Lexus. See if he's got anything going for him. James Warren as well coming to the pits. BDG, Gio, have Martin, Guarda, all resting there. It's very nice to have a full 33 drivers tonight. As we now wait for the rest of our guys to finish up on their laps here. Luke Walker driving for Team Flexus, running about turn number 8 here. Got anything left. Looks like he's going maybe for one more here. We shall see, or he might just bring it into the pits. Seibel as well. It's the end of his qualifying. He will be in fourth for the start of the race. Luke Walker, however, still out there going. See if he can get a time in to get on the top 2 spots of the grid. And coming across the line was a 43.6 for Luke Walker. His best lap time of the evening, but still not good enough to pass up Sean or Niels, who are nearly identical in time here. As here we go. And there we go. As we have it. Under the lights, we will start, or I should say, in the darkness. Lights only from the headlights on these cars. It is 8:01 p.m. The session will start in about 2 minutes time. Niels in first, going to lead off the grid. His second pole position here. He's gotten it in both rounds now. Here for our ACC drivers, see if he has the pace to do it again today, and maybe leave the stewards out of it this time, as he is quite pacey. Maybe one of our fastest drivers here on the grid at the moment. We have 33 others who are going to be fighting with him to this evening or on a track tonight to score themselves a podium or even a race win here in Hungary. Just have 45 seconds until the session is underway.
And I've made it to the comms booth.
Yes, we
just in time for this exciting little evening race we got going on.
Yeah, it's looking to be quite a thriller here in Hungary. for any who don't know, we are joined here by the wonderful Jamie Lawrence, in the booth for hopefully the first half of this race. What are your thoughts here as we wind down to the start?
I've just jumped in, and it seems like this grid's pretty competitive. Some drivers further down the order than I expected. We see Ruiz down there in P8. We know he's got some solid pace. We'll see how he does in the Ferrari. We saw him in the Bentley last season. Sosa, of course, one of the crowd favorites in P5. He'll be looking to make some dramatic moves, give us some action here on the opening couple laps.
Yeah, I gotta say, it is very dark out on track at the moment. Wonder how it's gonna come into play here for our drivers. We get a shot from the heli cam and see about the first 6 here. And that is the green light, and away we go. Niels getting a great jump here as the heli cam gives us a beautiful shot as we make a run up into turn number 1 here in complete darkness. You can barely see what's in front of you. Looks like everyone's getting off fairly well here. We go on board with Sosa having no trouble there. This grid is very compact. This is going to be pretty.
Someone's gone around.
And that is, as we try to pick up who that was who went off in the background. Unfortunately,
looks like they made their way back on track. Not sure who exactly went around. Looks like a couple of drive-throughs possibly from the start. We'll see if the race director is able to remove those.
Yeah, that was.
But Swenson is off track there, spun around in that Mercedes, down into excuse me, P34.
Oh, and we have another one off. Raul Bellini. Oh, and he's coming across, just reverse back on track. There is a huge pileup of cars now where Raul was just at, spinning off around what looks to be turn 5 there, or the chicane of 6 and 7, excuse me. He's now back on track and underway, but someone is not going to be very happy with his antics on track there as he just reversed back onto track after spinning. That may be looked at by the stewards post-race.
Definitely a questionable move for sure. I'm sure there was going to be some kind of consequence for that action.
Yeah, not good for Raul, not good for his car either, but that's something you hate to see as we're just the first 2 minutes of the race and already struck with damage and quite possibly going to be handed some penalties post-race. It's maybe not the greatest mindset to be in now, as you still have pretty much an hour and a half left to go here.
Yeah, patience is very key in these more lengthier races. So going for it initially on those first couple laps may be a bad move, as we've seen some of the drivers here falling victim to some aggressive maneuvers.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Niels is doing a great job right now out in front. He's got Luke Walker behind him, Team Flexus, beautiful Mercedes Petronis livery. Or I should just say Petronas. But yeah, Niels doing a great job right now, securing first place at the moment here at the start of the race. Do you think he's going to be under threat at all today? He's really showing that he is probably the fastest driver we have at the moment on the grid.
Yeah, he showed some solid pace last week at Nürburgring, so we know he's solid here. That was his debut, I believe, for the GT3 League, so he's looking to just further his pace here in Hungary.
Yeah, I mean, he's stolen pole back-to-back weeks, had an exciting race last week, and looks like if everything goes his way, he may get a win as well this afternoon, but still plenty of racing as we just start the race here. So we'll see.
For our qualifying, I saw it was a bit of a shock that Sable's down at P4. Usually he's one towards the front as well, so he'll look to try and make up the ground. Shane Moriarty, though, up there, closing in on Walker, so he's looking to make a move, trying to get up into P2 and possibly chase down Nils up there in front.
Yeah, Sean qualified in second. He was about 0.3 quicker than Luke Walker, but Luke Walker getting him there at the very start. I believe that was actually got that overtake done at turn number 1 and into 2. So yeah, Sean having to fight back here, but he definitely has the pace to catch up to Niels if he can get around Luke in front of him. But for Seibel, it was a little bit of a shock that he was a few tenths behind the top three. I mean, he's still in fourth, qualified fourth. It's not bad in a grid of 33 drivers, but someone who's probably looking to compete for the championship this season. I mean, it's still very early in the season, only on race 2. Maybe not the position he wants to be in, and just see it. I mean, I've been told he doesn't quite have the pace here over some of the top guys, at least here on track in Hungary. So I wonder if he's going to be able to find anything within that McLaren to make it work for him this afternoon.
Absolutely. Of course, with an hour and 30 minutes of racing, we will see a little bit of varying strategy. So we don't know exactly the amount of fuel each driver is carrying and when they're going to try and decide on pitting. So it could be that Sable may have a more full tank than the drivers in front right now, but we'll ultimately find out as these drivers make their pit stops.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, last week we saw Luke Walker and James Warren is, unfortunately, we're now getting hit with a stop here from ACC, so pull that up, right back up for you guys. I do apologize for the brief lapse here in stream, as we will hopefully be able to pick this up back very quickly. All right. And we should be back. Yes, we are. Once again, we apologize for that brief stop here on stream, but we are back, very luckily, here in Hungary.
Meanwhile, Nils out front has pulled a 1.7 second gap, so not pulling too far away, but just comfortably out in front, not too challenged by the drivers behind. Looks like Walker has pulled away from Sean Moriarty, though, back there in P3 in the Audi. So pretty comfortable at the moment for Nils. We see Adrian Hofbauer down in P30 serving that stop-go penalty coming up soon.
Unfortunately, it's looking like the game may not be picking up our broadcast here. So we'll take one more brief stop and hopefully we can pull up our timing screen here on my end and be able to pull everything back. Unfortunately that this is happening so early in the race here. But hopefully get everything sorted very shortly here for you guys on stream. Once again, do apologize for the brief pause here in racing. I know we're all very excited to watch all these drivers compete here, especially at night. The racing's always, I find, a little bit more entertaining, when you say, Jamie, when it is during the night, because sometimes it's just so much more unpredictable of what can happen.
Absolutely, it's a whole different ball game when you're driving in the night. Of course, turning points, braking points are harder to adapt as you go through, along with especially with other drivers on track as well. So it can be very, very difficult depending on how you look at it. It's always a good experience though to really get into the lights and really perfect your driving though.
Yeah, most definitely. And we will now send up a little prayer here, and hopefully everything on our end for ACC will be good to go. And we'll get back to some fantastic racing. As we bring it back up for you guys here live, hopefully our timing boards and broadcasts here will be good on my end, and we'll be set here for more of the racing.
Of course, yes. While this is a game, we still have some bugs here and there, so sometimes it doesn't always work on our end. But as long as the racing is still going on, we're happy for our drivers to carry on. But we just try our best to work with what we got and bring the feed to you guys. Meanwhile, our top 6 is staying the same as I'm going off the standings so far. Looks like there's a little bit of a scrap going on between the Sable, Sean Moriarty, and Sosa battle. We'll see that as it comes back on the feed.
Yeah, oh, and actually, oh no, Seibel's gone off there at turn 2. Joining right back on time. Looks like him and Sean as well. A little bit of battle. Sean now back down there in 5th place. Yeah,
Completely off there.
Yeah, joining at the perfect time there.
There's a big train form behind Walker up there, and sorry, Sean Moriarty there in P3, and Sable decided to go for the move. Got ahead. They're going side by side into, I believe that's turn 3. And unfortunately, Sable just seemed to miss that braking point completely. Went off and now he's dropped back behind James Warren. And this is a bit of a train forming here, so it'll be hard for him to try and make up those positions yet again. These drivers all have very similar pace on this track, and of course we know at the Hungaroring it's quite difficult to overtake unless you get a great run or the driver ahead makes a mistake. So a lot of pressure to be put on the drivers in front here to try and force them into some kind of error.
Yeah, as you're saying, yeah, it's pretty difficult to overtake in Hungary. I mean, you got that run up down to turn 1. We'll probably see some moves there. Sector 1, before you climb up the hill there to turn 4, you can get some moves in, but after that in sector 2 and 3, it's pretty close knit, and as you were saying, you kind of just have to wait for someone to make a mistake, because it's just so tight on the track to get a move in. You're right, got quite the train for me here. As it's really from Sosa all the way on back at the moment. Or even Luke Walker as well. Niels really driving a race of his own at the moment. Built up a nice little gap between the top 10 here as they're all just trailing along behind him.
Yeah, we could see that after that little scrap where they had with Sable and Moriarty, that Sosa's able to pull a bit of a gap now to that train. He's kind of off in his own, trying to chase down Walker now. Cody Pride, the one in that GTR, holding up Moriarty and the other drivers behind. So hopefully he can try and catch back up to Sosa and bring that train up to P2 and see if they can catch Walker.
Yeah, for Sosa, Sosa's definitely having a better race than what he had last week. Not to say that there's really anything wrong. He just looks to have better pace here, and I think podium would be very nice from the championship. Seibel, though, gonna really have to start picking himself back up after. Oh, and as I say that, maybe I'm giving Seibel a commentator's curse here. Every time I've gone on board with him, he's gone off on track. He's falling back. He's gonna fall very far back now. Just doesn't look to be his day as he's off again. Something not going right there with the McLaren of Seibel.
I'm not sure if he possibly had damage early on from that incident earlier, but he seems to be struggling quite a bit now. I'm not sure if he'll off to pit here. It's only been 15 minutes into this race, so we'll see what he decides to do, but hopefully he can get it back on pace. Maybe he'd just be struggling in that McLaren. He seems to be the only McLaren, I believe, in the top 10 at the moment. Now he's P11, but he's front runner for the McLarens at the moment. Possibly a car that just does not suit this track too well. We've seen how good of a driver Sable is last season and, of course, last race. So hopefully he can turn that around with just an hour and 15 left to go.
Yeah, I mean, race winner last week and just not going his way. But Cody Pride here, him and Sean were already starting to get really close. You got James Warren as well behind them in 6th, so these guys might have a little bit of a scrap on their hands. It's kind of what we saw last week, though, at the Nürburgring. Had quite the trail of cars in the middle positions in the top 10. And
there's a bit of a scrap for P15 going on between Mursky and Laws down there.
Yeah, we take it on board there with Mursky. Oh, and unfortunately, ACC just does not want to cooperate, unfortunately, on my end this afternoon. As it has crashed once again. It's just unfortunate here. Not what we want at all on our stream. We'll see if we can get it pulled back up. Not too sure what the reason for this is, but we'll work to bring the racing right back up for all of you currently tuning in on stream. All right, and it looks like we are back here once again for our round 2 of our ACC championship. We have now 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 30 seconds remaining in the race.
So after that break, there wasn't much that went on. Most drivers, at least in the top 7, have remained in their same position. A couple of scraps between Jay Warren and Sean Moriarty. Jay Warren unable to really get by, so he's been backing off a little bit now. Sable, of course, down in P11. He's trying to make back up some time. He's approaching a back marker now of Rokita, who's down there in P26. We'll see if he opts to get out the way here shortly.
Yeah, going to be quite the comeback drive there for Alex Seibel. But James Warren starting to push and just right outside the top 5 there in 6th place. Wonder if he's going to maybe have some fights here with the guys in front of him. And really going to start seeing strategy come into play within the next 20 minutes. He starts coming to pit and who's really going to go longer here and kind of start to understand, oh, it looks like Seibel has a drive-through penalty. He's currently serving that. That is very unfortunate there for Seibel.
Not sure I got that. Possibly a too many occurrences of track extension on track limits, but that's very unfortunate for him. He'll have to serve that and not take a pit stop. So that's an extra, at least I suppose, 30 seconds added to his time. So not something you look forward to as a driver getting that notification on track.
No, it definitely is not. Our 4th through 6th at the moment, not separated by much.
This is where the battle's at.
Yeah, not separated by much. And then you got Sosa and Luke Walker in front of them. And it looks like Luke Walker's starting to catch up to Niels now. Niels with not that much of a gap between the two behind him.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think the fuel tank may come into play here. Walker may be getting down to a lower level, able to pick up the pace a little bit more, get more comfortable in that car in the night. Sosa, though, right on his back, giving him a lot of pressure. So possibly Sosa closing in on Walker, forced Walker to pick up the pace a little bit, stop taking it so easy. Now he's pushing up towards Nils and P1. So this could be a good scrap for the lead, the top 6 here, all within about 10 seconds. So pretty close.
Yeah, these guys aren't really separated by that much. And Sosa, I wonder if he's going to start looking for a move here on Luke Walker within the next few laps, because he's definitely showing some promising pace. He separated himself too from Cody Pride, who's in 4th. Pride, Morardi, and James Warren kind of running their own little battle as they seek out maybe the top 3 in front of them.
Yeah, at the moment, anyone in the top 6 surely up for this win, given by the pace they've all kind of separated themselves from P7 below, Tudes and Ruiz below, trying to claw back at that gap, but these top 6 are flying now as they pull away.
Yeah, Tudes and Miguel Ruiz in 7th and 8th, further back from those top 6, but still, I mean, they got some good spacing from the runners behind them. They're sitting pretty comfortably at the moment, as it seems that they're on pretty much the exact same pace. And I gotta say, I'm in love with Ruiz's livery for this weekend. It's quite a beautiful sight on his Ferrari.
Yeah, especially these liveries under the lights help show just how good they look with their current paint schemes.
No, this is definitely for sure, as it looks like Niels is starting to lose a few tenths here from the guys behind him. He's 4 tenths slower that lap than Luke Walker in 2nd. So Walker may be looking to take the race lead if he can keep up this pace here on Niels.
It's like they're approaching the back marker of Sean Buck down there in P25, so this could surely shake up the field too, depending on how they can navigate these blue flaggers up front.
Yeah, and looking at Niels, it looked like he may have had some damage on the driver's side of his car, but unsure if that was just how the lights are making it look. Oh, no, he does.
It looks like he's gotten some paint missing there.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be affecting his pace too much, but I mean, maybe that's coming into play with why Luke Walker's starting to catch up, or maybe Luke Walker's just pushing the pace.
Yeah, Luke Walker getting a little bit of a gap there to Sosa. It's about a second, just over a second now, but really pushing on Nils. for that P1 spot as they approach Sean Buck in P25. We'll see how soon he gets away. He goes very deep there, allowing all these drivers to get by. So he's being very cautious, not trying to get any sort of penalty. So Cody Pride gets by,
Yeah,
Moriarty and Warren.
the only thing I would have said though with Sean Buck is, it looks like Niels is coming in the pit, so that's going to be Luke Walker in the lead. Niels only doing 25 minutes on his first stint, so see how this goes for him. But he's going to drop pretty far back here on the grid, so it's now Walker, Sosa, and Cody Pride in his GTR top three. Sean Moriarty, James Warren now in fourth and fifth. So this is where we're going to start seeing the strategies come into play. I didn't expect Niels to come in so early. I wonder why that is.
Possibly not looking to lose time from that battle from the top 5, top 6. But looks like hopefully this is supposed to be his quick, short stint. And now he's looking to go long here with plenty of fuel all the way to the end. We'll see, though. I'm not sure of the fuel tank or consumption of the Audi, but hopefully he can last an hour and 4 minutes to the end. Might be a bit of a stretch on his end, but we'll see. Could be opting for a 2-stop to try and get 3 quick stints. But at the moment, he's sitting in the pits now down to P14, P15, 16. We'll see where he comes out and see when the front runners decide to pit in relation to him, see if they want to react to his pit stop and try and cover him off.
Yeah, because the way it's going right now for Luke Walker in first, if he's going long on this stint, I mean, we'll see within the next 10 minutes whether or not he's coming in or when he'll come in. He could be on this lap as well, just to match Niels there. But if he's prolonging the stint, he definitely had some great pace going for him. I mean, he was catching Niels and looked like maybe in a couple laps he would have been able to overtake him on track. So Luke Walker looking very promising right now in this race. Sosa as well there right behind him in the Porsche. And Cody Pride as well. I mean, top 5, not much separating them at the moment. Those guys are well within fighting distance of one another.
Yeah, pit stops could be huge here. That will definitely check up the positioning. Be hard to get back out in front. We saw in the F1 race today with a pit stop of 1.9 seconds by Red Bull. And that kind of helped him out in the end. But, of course, these pit stops nowhere near as quick as F1 cars. Time still definitely matters and when they come back out on track. So we'll see when they decide to pit and how long it'll take and when they come back out on track in relation to the other top 5 drivers.
Yeah, and currently looking here on the Lamborghini of Eric DeBon, him and Dan Cross. Oh, I'm sorry, that was not Dan Cross. Looks like that maybe have been a back marker there for Eric.
Looks like he's just getting by Bolinelli and approaching the back of Rokita here as he's getting through just a couple of back markers. Looking down the order, seems most of our drivers are fairly spaced out to one another.
And it looks like Cody Pride is starting to look for a way to get around Sosa now. He's peaked at that inside run for about the past 2 to 3 corners here. See if he's going to try to make a run, an overtake through turn 1. He's going to have to get a great exit though out of this final turn, turn number 14.
As Adrian Hopauer out there getting out the way, nice and easy for him.
Yeah, the last thing you want is to get held up by a back marker. So these guys who are getting the blue flags waved are doing a pretty decent job of not holding up any of the front runners who are coming to lap them.
That GTR looking pretty mighty right there behind Sosa. Trying to make some kind of move, but he's just stuck right behind him, just trying to force Sosa into some kind of error as it stands. Looks like Walker's able to pull a bit of a gap, though, at the moment due to Sosa struggling down there in P2.
Yeah, Walker nearly half a second faster than Sosa on that last lap. And, yeah, it just looks like Sosa starting to struggle, maybe dealing with a little bit of tire wear on the Porsche. Got 30 minutes in. Oh. Cody Pride, I believe that is Sean Moriarty behind him. Sean Moriarty starting to push as well. nearly going right in the back there of Cody.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake there, looks like, from Cody Pride, and we're already almost capitalized on it, but going through that chicane, there's not enough room for 2 cars to go wide, so you had to back out of that attempt and tuck it behind.
Yeah, very, very smart by Sean there. Going through 6 and 7, it's very, very tricky and definitely just a one-way through for a car. But that's also what we've been saying. Some of these guys do have the pace to get an overtake done. It's just about where you're going to do it on circuit because there's not many spots to do so. We now got James Warren making a run up here on Sean, but yet to really see any overtakes occur. And it looks like something may be wrong there with Cody. He looks to be going very slow and maybe just getting held up by the back marker there. He's made his run up to turn 1. It looks like everything is
Looks like this back marker has widened that gap between Sean Moriarty and Cody Pride, so Cody Pride able to move back up towards Sosa, and Warren's now putting the pressure on Sean Moriarty.
Yeah, James Warren, he's a silent driver on the circuit. Last week we saw him not really get too many overtakes, but with a no-stop strategy, got himself all the way up into 2nd place, and at the moment he's quietly picking up some positions on track, doing it very slowly and methodically, but he's going to be a guy to watch out for if he can get around some more of the guys in front of him as he sits in 5th place.
We'll have to see which one of these drivers breaks first. I know I've done only one 1 hour and 30-minute race in ACC, and I believe the preferred strategy was to go as long as possible, 45 minutes to an hour, and then have a shorter stint at the end to try and push it. So I'm sure the drivers will wait longer, later rather than sooner, to pit. But of course, if you're stuck in this kind of train, you may want to alter that up a bit and possibly dive out early. But of course, you don't have a full team of race engineers telling you exactly where you're going to come out with which drivers who are going a certain pace. But if I were one of these top 5, I'd look to be pitting soon, try and alter that strategy and come away with a big gain in positions.
Yeah, the only thing you got to worry about is we'll look at Niels here. Niels, after his stop, he's only picked up 2 positions. He's in 19th. He just got around Shea there, who's now in 20th. So it's an interesting outlook on the race, whether or not you want to come in and pit or when your pit's going to be, because you're going to have some slower guys to fight off with if you pit too early. And that's kind of what's going on with Niels there at the back of the grid.
Yeah, it looks like Niels, of course, has to battle most of the drivers' position now, as he's got a couple back markers in front of him now in P28 and P30 of Wolf and Martin. But of course, trying to get through these drivers, they're not going to get out of his way. Of course, he is one of the fastest on track, but he's battling for all of these 4 positions, so it's not going to be easy for him. It's going to lose him some time to the front runners as they're out just cruising along, picking up time. So we'll see if he's able to stay with them when these front runners make their pit stop.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see probably with about 15 minutes to go when we get to that point in the race whether or not this strategy call has worked out for Niels or not. But we'll see. And it all depends as well what these stops look like for all the guys in the top 5, even the top 10. See how all those work out, as really haven't seen too many people come in for the stops yet in the top 10 besides Niels. I believe Niels has been the only one at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't seen any mix-up really in the field in the top 10. Looks like Tude's down there in P6, kind of on a race of his own right now, separated by a field of back markers, just cruising along in that Mercedes, putting the Mercedes to a good name at the moment. But other than that, it's a pretty big stretch down to P7, Dan Cross in P8, and Devin in P9, and of course Sable down in P14, unable to really make any ground back up towards the top of the field.
Yeah, and I wonder if he may be dealing with a little bit of damage as well, because lap times aren't where they were for him in the beginning of the race. So yeah, he's just really just fighting to get as many points as possible. It looks like he's coming into the pits again. Or no, I am, yes. I thought my mind or my eyes were playing tricks on me, and they were not. So I was coming back in the pits.
He is.
Well, looks like
Cody Pride, though, right on the back of Sosa. Sosa's going defensive over here. Looks like they may go side by side in this next corner.
yeah, Cody Pride might get it done here on Sosa's going to have to be very careful as they come around turn number 13. That looks like it's a move done. And now Sosa's going to have to be wary of Sean Moriarty behind him. Sean took a little peek of his own. Looks like Sosa might get back at Cody, though. They're going to make a very long run up to turn number 1. See how this works for this pack of 3.
This is a big scrap now as Sosa goes defensive. Looks like Moriarty's going to get ahead there going into the corner. Round the outside, they're still side by side. This enables Cody Pride to get away. They're still going to go side by side into turn 3 now. As Jay Warren just sitting back watching these two take battle. Up in front goes Sean Moriarty. Sosa's going to have to back out. Jay Warren keeping it patient down there. And that's Sosa losing 2 positions in the span of 3 corners down to P4.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Sosa, but you kind of saw it coming a couple laps prior that starting to lose a little bit of pace, and Cody Pride doing a great job now into second, but gives Luke Walker a little bit more of a gap in front there, currently sitting in first place. Oh, and it looks like Sosa completely bottled it through the chicane there.
May have gotten some sort of warning or closer to a penalty there, but it looks like he's kept his place. Seems to be all good.
Yeah, and that's gonna help Jay Warren get back up. Looks like he's starting to fall off just a little bit here from the runners in front of him. But Luke Walker doing an outstanding job right now in first place as we're slowly about to reach halfway here on circuit. See what our top 5 ends up doing here.
Yeah, Walker is enjoying all this battle between P2 and P5 as he's able to slightly just pull away and get a little more comfy lead and have that freedom of cruising around the track rather than being wary of the drivers in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, he's got about 3 seconds there from second place, which is Cody. And I don't know, we'll see if Cody can start pushing his GTR. And speaking of pushing, looks like James Warren now is starting to push himself back up onto Sosa. Sosa may be under threat to lose another position on a track.
Could see Sosa's tires start to go off. Could have put a little too much pressure on them in the early stages of this race, and that could be very detrimental to him now. He may look to pit soon. It's 52 minutes left in this race, so it's definitely viable for him to go to the end, I believe. But we'll see if he decides to stay out and stick with this pack.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely reaching the point here where drivers won't have to worry about too much of fuel consumption. It should be fine whenever they pit to go till the end. And tire life also starting to play a factor. As he said, Sosa looks to be struggling just a little bit, not even a little bit, a lot of it, as we've seen him go off as well just a few minutes ago. I wonder if we'll see him stay out, and yes, we are. But it's all quiet again with the top 5.
Sierra's trying to get out the way, the back marker there, and unfortunately tapped the wall. Maybe he's looking too much in his rearview mirror, not looking forward. Almost making contact with Jay Warren coming on the track after the contact with the wall, but they're able to keep it clean. Jay Warren possibly drop back a little bit from that incident, but nothing too drastic. Sierra, though, possibly picking up damage from that tap with the wall. Moriarty getting close now to Cody Pride. Bit of a deep lunge there. Narrowly missing the back of Cody Pride.
Yeah, Sean maybe trying to look, maybe thinks he has a better pace, but for James Warren, that might have been a heart stopper for just a couple seconds, because it looked like he may have ended up a lot worse there, but
We know last season Jay Warren did not have a great experience with a back marker at this same very track, the Hungaroring, possibly ending his race. So he's sure got some flashbacks going on at the moment. We'll see if he's able to keep it clean though, and avoid any unlucky incidents like he just did right now.
yeah. Unfortunately for James, he's probably having those flashbacks getting played, and probably just glad that he only lost a few tenths there. It looks like he's already picking that back up to Sosa now, so not too much to worry about for him. Meanwhile,
Yeah, he's been hanging on the back of this pack for a while. He hasn't really gone for any moves. He's just been sitting patient as Sosa has dived into the pits. So he's going in now. He's had enough of those tires and that amount of fuel in his tank. So he'll be jumping in, slows it down for that pit entry. And we'll see where, in relation to Nils, he comes out, because it seems like he had some good pace compared to him. And we'll see if Nils is able to keep the pace up and stick with the pace of these front runners.
as unfortunately, once again, ACC's broadcaster doesn't want to work with us today. It's probably enjoying a Sunday without being used. Oh, let's see if we can get that back up here.
So this is just pulling out of the pits now. Down there in P8, according to the relative. Looks like he'll come out well ahead of Nils. Nils not even close at the moment. Oh, and the timing has updated. Yeah, he's about a couple corners back from the pack, so we'll see if we can slowly catch up now.
As unfortunately, it looks like we may have to restart ACC here. As our broadcaster does not want to be a friend at all today. Oh, and it is back. Yes. Very, very beautiful.
You'll love to see it.
Oh, and as it comes back, it goes right back to crashing on me. We'll wait and see if we get that back. So currently, we're going to have to ride on board here with Toots until the broadcaster wants to pull back up for us. Oh, and as I say that, Toots is spun at turn 4 going up the hill. Oh, no, that is unfortunate for him.
Bit of a commentator's curse there, it seems. As soon as we ride on board with him, he goes around. He knew the pressure was on, possibly. Got that notification on his dash that he is live on air. And unfortunately, the pressure seems to have gotten to him.
Yeah, it looks like we will just have to take a brief dive away here. So we can get our broadcast back up. Yeah, just hasn't been a good day for my PC. It looks like, as things just don't want to work here for ACC, but should be back up in just about a minute here, so we can get back to the action. But what are your thoughts so far, Jamie? Or halfway through the race, what do you think is going to unfold here?
So 46 minutes left to go. It's anyone's game. I literally could not choose a winner out of the top 6 right now. So Walker, though, is formed a bit of a gap, like we said 3 seconds earlier. He's looking pretty good. I think he has the freedom to just cruise along at the moment. Probably stretch. He's probably going to want to pit as late as possible because he's got some nice clean air. He's the race leader. People are going to get out the way for him nice and easy in terms of back markers. But between Cody Pride, Sean Moriarty, James Warren, anything can happen. They are been battling all race long. We've seen Jay Warren being patient down there in P4 at the moment now after Sosa's pitting. So we'll see just what happens. We'll see if Sosa's earlier pit stop pays off. Looks like he was struggling there towards the end of his stint. We'll see if he can go all the way to the end, nice and easy now. I'm assuming these drivers will start to pit here in the next 10, 15 minutes, as I'm sure they've got not too much fuel left in their tank. But still anyone's game. I could not pick a winner at the moment, but right now Walker's looking pretty comfortable in the lead.
Yeah, and we'll see if Niels can maybe pull himself back into the top 5 here.
As James Warren, as I said, I've actually just gotten by Sean Moriarty, so not sure if you're back in the session yet, but James Warren's up into P3 at the moment. Sean Moriarty down to P4. It looked like almost a team orders action there, as it wasn't too much of a battle, kind of just Sean going wide, and that was about it.
Yeah, let's see here if we can. Beautiful. Back to the broadcast. And looks like we are all back and set here on stream. Hopefully, no more blunders. But at the moment, Luke Walker, Cody Pride, James Warren are top 3. D-Bond, VDG Geo entering and coming out of the pits here. And then we got Dan Cross and Sean Moriarty in 4th and 5th, respectively, here.
The top 4 is where the battle's at right now. Of course, Sosa down in P7, so he's not too far back. Maybe good for these drivers to make a stop soon. Most drivers have made their stop. It looks like the rest are still cruising. Looks like Sean Moriarty, though, into the pits. He goes now. The 3rd of our top 6 to go in. So now there's just 3 left up top. Jay Warren is now 2.6 seconds back from Cody Pride in P2, and Cody Pride's 2.5 seconds back from Walker in P1. So nice even gap of 2.5 seconds between the top 3. And they'll be looking to either push and catch one another or possibly just dive into the pits now, as that pit window is pretty saucy at the moment.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it just seems like everything at the moment on my end is not wanting to cooperate.
It's generally how it goes in time of need, isn't it?
Yeah. This has not been an easy answer. I'm trying to make it as easily accessible to all of our viewers here, but not really wanting to run the best here on my end. We may have to.
Kunos, if you're listening, I'd love to give you some advice on how to properly implement a broadcasting. UI, because right now it's not great. It doesn't work half the time, and uh, I'm not complaining. A little bit, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, sometimes it's just not your day, and it kind of seems like it's been like that for us here. Um, but we should
It's
see.
hard, but as long as the racing's good, that's really what matters. Down to it. But I mean, if you got some free time, sprinkle a little sauce on that broadcast system, and we'll love you forever.
Oh yeah, definitely. And should be back. Should have this back up. Probably another minute here for our viewers. It looks like we had about, I believe, 38 minutes remaining still.
Yeah, on my screen it's 40, but who knows what's actually correct. But unfortunately, I do have to go. I was only able to stay for the first half of this race. So just as things are starting to spice up in the pit stop strategies, I'm gonna go have and leave you to it, Nick. Thanks for having me, and we hope to see some spiciness occur in our top six drivers. I still am excited to see who wins this race. It's
Yeah,
all up for grabs.
definitely. And it was a pleasure having you, Jamie, as always. Maybe you're the one that's cursing our stream here, and maybe we'll have a smooth ending. We will
Perhaps.
see. We
Hopefully, if
will.
I leave, it'll go all according to plan. Well, good luck and take it easy, guys.
Yeah. All right, and here we are back to normal. Man, I'm glad to bring you guys the racing once again. As Luke Walker currently in the lead here, Cody Pride sitting in second, and James Warren currently riding in third. Cody Pride now coming into the pits in his GTR, so that's going to promote James Warren up into second, and Sean Morardi will come into third. Sosa at the moment is up into fifth after a stop, and Niels, after taking a very early stop in the race, falling all the way back to 21st, has picked his way all the way back up to 7th. But he's still going to have quite the fight here with 38.5 minutes remaining. He wants to get another podium, or get, as I should say, his first podium of the season. As Cody Pride is now exiting the pits. We'll see where he's going to come out on track after this. He was running in third. He's been having a good race, and he's got his stop in and out of the way, so we'll see how it goes for him. But James Warren and Luke Walker, the Lexus boys, once again in the top two. We saw this around a similar point in the race last week in Nürburgring. See these guys have what it takes to maybe capture a podium here today. Neither one has came in for a stop, so we'll see what the strategy plan is. But at the moment, the boys in for the Lexus team doing a great job. As we take a look at further back, Freddie Lopez looks to be under attack here from Twos. Twos going down the inside at turn one, and very easily done there for the Mercedes of Twos. He's now up into 11th place. Wonder if Freddie Lopez has anything to come back at. And it doesn't look like it. Looks like he's conceded the place, and that is it for him. Meanwhile, Wardell has Dan Cross all over his case here. Dan Cross currently in ninth, trying to pick up that 8th spot from the BMW of Wardell in front of him. As the racing is really going to start to spice up here, as Cody Pride keeps third position there after the stop. That cannot be right on a time, which I should update in a few seconds. But now I'll take it back up here to Wardell. Dan across behind him as they come out of turn number 14 here. Dan Cross will be looking to get a good run on Wardell. They come down the start, finish straight. Dan Cross looks on the inside. Wardell holding him off. Oh, a little bit of a squeeze there, giving just enough room to Dan, but Dan's going to have to go around the outside, and it's not going to be an overtake for him. He's still back in 9th place now. And it looks like our time screens are all right. That is Cody Pride. He is in 3rd after his stop, so he's still on the podium after that stop, and he's going to have Sean Morardi slowly trying to creep his way up here. He's got a back marker in front of him that he's going to have to get around. Let me take it back to Wardell here. He's got Dan Cross still trying to fight and get that overtake back. Wardell not going to give away this position easily, as we've seen the past lap and a half, as Dan Cross tries to fight him for 8th place. See if Dan has it here on this lap to do so, or the next lap even. As you see Dan try to go down the inside there at 13, can't get it done. He's got the outside run here as they go into 14. He's trying to pick up a little bit more speed here as they come off the apex of the final turn. Dan's got a great run now on Wardell. Can Dan do it here? He's going to go down the inside now. Wardell tried to do it around the outside last lap, and it looks like Wardell is conceding the place. He knows that Dan has it on him. Let's see if Wardell can strike back now. He's not going away without a fight. Might have lost position, but he's going to try to get it back now from Dan Cross as they come around turn number 2. And across 3, and the run up the hill to 4. Oh no, and Cody Pride has a drive-through penalty. Oh, that is very unfortunate for Cody Pride, as that's going to cost him a lot of time, and most likely he's going to fall back around to the battle that we're watching here on track. Take a peek here at Wardell's currently in 3rd. He's going to have to serve this time penalty. He's not going to do it this lap. He has, I believe, 3 laps to serve it. But with Sean Morardi right behind him, Sean now going to be in 3rd after Cody serves his penalty. And Sosa as well is going to have another look for quite possibly a podium. He's starting to fall off the pace this past half hour, but still cannot count him out. Miguel Ruiz as well back here in 6th position, doing an excellent job in that Ferrari this afternoon. And then you have Niels here in 7th for the Side Max Motorworks team. Still got quite a hill to climb for Niels, who wants to maybe get inside the top 5. It's really been a battle for him as he qualified pole, led the first 25 minutes of the race, and now all he's been left with is a battle, an uphill battle, I should say, to capture all those positions back after a very early stop from him. But Luke Walker is sitting pretty comfortable right now in 1st place in his Lexus. James Warren as well. See James getting around to the back marker there of Thomas Laws. Thomas Laws currently in 22nd out of our remaining 27 drivers. Started the day with 33, and we're down to 27 as we reach the final half hour of the race. And there it goes. Cody Pride serving his time penalty. You see Morardi get around him. Sosa as well is going to get that position. Miguel Ruiz should as well. As Cody Pride is nearly out of the pits here. Sosa's gotten past him. Where is Niels? Niels is going to get that position as well, it looks like. Cody coming out right alongside Niels. Oh, this is going to be interesting as they get side by side through turn one. So it's going to be a fight now between Cody Pride and Niels. Niels has the inside line as we make the run up to turn two. Oh, gives a little bit of a tap there to Cody. And Cody now falls behind Niels. Cody in 7th place now. See if he can strike back to Niels. Cody was running 3rd before the drive-through penalty, so he's lost a total of 4 positions. And he's looking to get one of them back right here. Looks like at the moment Cody doesn't have too much to fight back with here for Niels. Pace though solid enough to maintain the gap that's currently set here from the Audi that's in front of him, so maybe he'll have another chance to strike back at Niels and regain the position. But as it stands, Niels now 6th and Cody Pride in 7th. Luke Walker up here in 1st still. James Warren not too far off there from Luke. About a 1.5 to 2 seconds gap between those two. And then you have Sean Morardi in 3rd. Sean looking like he might get this podium quite possibly. You just got to hold it together for another 28 minutes. Which should amount to about another 20 to 23 laps. As I'm actually putting on, it's going to be about 15 laps that we'll see left here with the time remaining. We go through the back part of our grid here on with as we go on with Eric DeBond, gets a little bit of a tap there on the wall in 14. He's now going to have Spencer Marsh behind him. Marsh might get a run here. Doesn't look like he's going to have enough to maybe get a move on. As we saw the Lamborghini man of Eric DeBond just scrape the wall there. Coming out the final turn. But a lot of gaps really formed now on track. It's just going to be who's played the better card when it comes to strategy here. The Lexuses look to be the ones who have. Neither one have stopped here, so it's going to be interesting. Going for a no stop again. That could quite possibly be it for them. Because with 25 minutes left, I'd expect a stop. Maybe with the next couple of laps, maybe the next 2 laps here. But they're both staying out and going for it. And they got a decent gap there to Sean Morardi. You see Sean all the way back there in 3rd. Those two are sitting very comfortable, but probably managing that fuel pretty heavily as we saw last week. Tires as well. So we'll see if they they got it in them to do it here. Looks Looks like Cody Pride is starting to fall back now there from Niels after losing that position. Unfortunately for him, doesn't look like he has the pace to keep up with Niels. Niels 4/10 faster the previous lap. Sosa pretty far off there from Sean. Don't know if Sosa's going to have enough time to catch up to Morardi. Look again there at Sosa. He's got a few seconds back there from Morardi. And running similar lap times here. They're both with a 45.6 there that last lap. So not too sure if Sosa's going to have enough here to catch up and maybe capture a podium with 25 minutes on the dot remaining. It's 10:16 here in Hungary. It has been an exciting one as Luke Walker back for another lap. Can smell that victory. Just got to keep it together. The final stages of the race here. And he could very, very well come away with a race win. James Warren and the other Lexus as well come home to that very coveted second place. I believe he would be a very happy man on a Sunday afternoon if he could do so. And Nils, currently the fastest driver on circuit. Or excuse me, that was actually James Warren, who last lap set a 45.0, which was really on par for his best lap of the race. And that is half a second faster than Luke Walker in front of him. I wonder if James Warren is going to start pushing here for the race lead. Maybe he's doing better on fuel than Luke. Luke could be preserving a little bit more here, or he could start feeling those tires to die off. James Warren definitely has enough time to catch up to Luke. Let's just see if Luke can pick up his pace here, because at the moment he's not lapping fast enough to come home with this race win. There's too much time left, so I know he's going to be concerned about that. James Warren is nearly going to be on his tail in the next few laps if he can keep this up. However, looks like Luke is pushing once again because he's nearly a second faster than his last lap time. So all things looking good now there for Luke. Sosa still riding outside of the top three there in fourth. Morardi's just cruising up there in third. He'll take it on board here with BDG Gio. Him and Freddie Lopez having a little bit of a scrap here for 11th position. Freddie in the number 32 Audi. The Cub home today with some points if he can keep it together. Come home with maybe a little bit more if he could find a way around the Porsche of BDG Gio. These two driving a pretty clean and quiet race this afternoon. And for the time being, it looks like Gio's gonna keep his position. See if Gio has it here. Can you fend off Freddie Lopez behind him. Lopez is going to go down the inside here at turn 1. I don't think Gio's going to have what it takes to hold him off. And it looks like that is going to be 11th place for Freddie Lopez as he gets past Gio. See if Gio has anything to fight back with now. They come around turn number 2. Gio really falling off the pace here. About 3/10 slower than Freddie Lopez that last lap, and I don't know if he's going to have what it takes to regain this position. Make a run up the hill from turn 4, going very wide there. We've seen many drivers do this afternoon. And unfortunately there for Gio, already falling back pretty heavily there from Freddie Lopez. Good move from Lopez into turn 1, and he's going to keep fighting his way up. Maybe could come home with a possible top 10 if he can catch up to the 10th place man of Henry Wardell. And we're now under 20 minutes remaining. Nearly about to hit 10:30 here. Just once again want to thank everyone who's been tuning in and watching the race. It's been very exciting. Unfortunately, I had a few technical difficulties very early on, but nonetheless, glad that everything is started to sort itself out, and we appreciate all the views on this Sunday afternoon or Sunday night, depending on where you are in the world. But we'll see if anything changes in the top 3 here, as Freddie Lopez, who we just saw a lap ago, get that overtake on BDG. Gio has come into the pits for what I'll assume to be his final stop of the afternoon. Looks like Thomas Laws and Shea here for the battle for 21st. The places outside of the points. Having maybe a little bit of a scrap in the back. Look at Wardell here in 10th. Driving a solid race in the BMW. And Miguel Ruiz here in the Ferrari. Top 5 at the moment. We've done 41 laps. We're on lap 41 here. Still stands Luke Walker, James Warren, Sean Berardi, Sosa, Miguel Ruiz outside of those spots, and it's starting to look like Nils' early stop is not going to pay off for him. At the moment, he's lapping with times that are on par with our top 5. Nothing really separating these drivers. Nils, however, could potentially still get in the top 5 if he can catch up to Ruiz. Ruiz not too far off the distance, and Ruiz is also starting to drop off on his lap times. Though Nils still could have his sights set on finishing in top 5, but it looks like a podium is going to be out of reach for him. He's probably questioning himself about whether or not that early stop was the right way to go. Maybe he just didn't think he was going to get held up by all of the back markers. Yeah, it's going to be unfortunate there for Nils. But so with anxiety's going to start kicking in here for the Lexus boys. Nearly getting 15 minutes to go here. I wonder if their cars have what it takes to go the distance here. as neither one of them have made a stop this afternoon. You see James Warren slowly creeping up Luke Walker. He's been lapping faster than Walker every lap for about the past 5 to 6 laps here. He's just trying to see if he can maybe fight for the race win. He's still got some time left. He's got some laps left to go. But we shall see if he has it in him to take the fight to Luke Walker. But for most of our grid, things seem to have silenced themselves. And maybe not going to be as much of a crazy finish as we saw last week at the Nürburgring, as strategies have really come out to play today. And everything's varied so much for these guys that really the action starts to subside here towards the end of the race. It's all quiet in the top 5 for the time being. Oh, and there goes Luke Walker now. Luke Walker is into the pits. James Warren stays out, so James Warren up into first. We'll see what this does here for Luke Walker. Sean already very far off here from Walker. I wonder if Walker's gonna be able to keep it in second here. He still sits in the pits, and he's out of his pit box. It looks like he's easily going to keep second place here from the likes of Sean Morardi in the Audi. Luke is back out on the track and has quite the gap still to Morardi, and he's got some extra fuel in and maybe even a change of tires. So here he is, James Warren. He hasn't made a stop. Is he going to come in this lap with 13 minutes remaining? Luke Walker definitely got the undercut here on him. I don't know if James is going to try to stay out or not. Cody Pride is just coming across a back marker there. He's still in 7th place. And there is James Warren. He is coming into the pits. Oh, this is going to be close between him and Luke Walker. You see Walker here coming down turn 11 and into 12. Definitely looks like he's going to get this, as James Warren is just now into the pits. If he's going for just fuel, he might be able to exit just a few seconds behind Luke. And there he goes, he is out. And Luke Walker is coming down the start-finish straight here, and he's going to lose out James Warren. He's not going to retain first place, as you see him off in the distance, exiting the pits, as Luke Walker gets back his first place. And James Warren falling back into second. Sean Morardi very far off still from those top 2. So it looks like the Lexus boys have played the strategy to perfection, as they should be good to go till the end of the race here on fuel and tires. That is, of course, if they took tires. Those stops were pretty quick see. Oh no, as unfortunately our and unfortunately here with 10 minutes remaining, a little bit more technical difficulties here on our end. And it looks like everything now is and there we have it. We're now back on board there with Luke Walker. Had a nice little ride with Sean Morardi for a little bit. Looks like Luke and James Warren are going to come home in first and second. We just got 9 minutes remaining. Just a few more laps. Let's see, about 4 to 5 more laps here, and they get to come home with a coveted podium. Unfortunately, Cody Pride is probably going to be asking himself what could have been this afternoon if he didn't get stuck with that drive-through penalty. He was looking for a promising podium, and it just didn't go his way whatsoever. But it has been an interesting race, to say the least, here in Hungary, as we come down to the dying moments of the race. Top 3 look to be set of Walker, Warren, and Morardi, unless we get something unpredictable go on here. And it's going to be Sosa and Miguel Ruiz outside of the podium spots, and Nils back there in 6th, Cody Pride in 7th. Following behind them is Cross Twos and Henry Wardell. Get a good shot there at Nils, who's currently in 6th position. Really been driving a race of his own the past half hour. And I'm sure in the championship this won't be a result that he wants, but nonetheless he's still going to get some solid points tonight. He'll have plenty more races this season, as there was an abundance of great ACC content to come. You can always catch it here on Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. What I believe is GMT or BST. But it has been an interesting race. We saw some great midfield scraps very early on. We had a wild crash on the first lap of the race with Raul, as we believe that he was having some difficulties on his end with some pedals, I believe is what was said after that incident. So unfortunate for him, as he is out of the race. He was unable to really compete this afternoon. Five minutes, 5.5 minutes remaining, and it has been another great stream. We had the wonderful Jamie Lawrence on with us for the first half as he fought through all the technical difficulties and gave us some great insight on the racing and drivers, and always a joy to have him. See who we can get in the booth next week with me. It's always great to have someone alongside of you to co-commentate with. These races are so fun. And if you want to see more PPR action, that's not just ACC, you can catch us tomorrow as we will be live for our PC Euro and PC D1 races at Hanoi. PC Euro still working on streams for them, but every other classification that we are running at the moment you'll be able to catch, as PC Division 1 will be live at 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. Make sure to catch them. And then got triple header Tuesdays with Xbox Division 1, 2, and 3. And followed by our double header of PC D2 and D3 on Wednesdays, and PS4 starting to come on the rise as well. We got those guys on Thursdays, and the round off F1 racing is Xbox Division 4 on Fridays. So plenty of racing, plenty of content to catch up on. So make sure to stay with us throughout the weeks. We stream on every single day at the moment besides Thursdays and Saturdays. So 5 out of the 7 days a week you can catch some great PPR racing content. As it looks like James Warren here with 3.5 minutes left just has to keep it all together. Him and Luke Walker there in first and second, and it will be smooth sailing for them. Probably looking at about 2 to 3 more laps here, depending on where Luke Walker comes across the line at. There should be 3 more laps to go. That last lap for James Warren on par with his best lap of the race, a 45.0. He's driven very consistently this afternoon. Luke Walker as well. Unfortunately, looks like our broadcaster has completely eliminated itself from wanting to do his job, so we'll let the game do its own broadcasting for us as we just wind down the final minutes here. It has been a pleasure to present this, and we'll have driver interviews shortly after the race is over. So you can catch all of those. Looks like we'll get to talk with Walker, Warren, and Mirardi after everything is over tonight, and get their insights on the race, what they thought about it. Maybe get a little insight too on the Walker and Warren strategy of pitting there with just 13 minutes to go, as they have obviously made the right strategy call this afternoon. As looking at James Warren, Walker is not too far ahead of him. I don't know if Jay Warren has enough in him to get that position. As this right here will be the last lap of the race.
Right, man. Leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
And you see right behind him James Warren there in second on a charge. He's doesn't look like it's going to have enough here. It's going to have to be a stellar lap for James Warren if he wants to capture the race win from Luke Walker. But at the moment, it looks like Luke Walker's going to have enough here. They make the run up the hill from turn number 4. James Warren right behind Walker. He's charging on this lap. Walker gonna have to be careful. One small mistake and he could see that race victory slide away from him. They come across the chicane of 6 and 7 and now through turn 8 and 9 for the 2 Lexus boys. Got a back marker getting out of the way there of Jay Warren. And now into the 3rd sector. Downhill into turn 12 comes Luke Walker. He's got 2 more corners and he will be your race winner tonight here in Hungary. It's 11:06 on track and it's about to be a party tonight for Luke Walker as he rounds about turn number 14 for the final time. Comes across the line, James Warren right behind him, and that is the race win for Luke Walker. 2nd place for James Warren. Those guys have done a great job tonight. And a nice little shove there from James Warren. As unfortunately, with the way our broadcasting has worked the past 3 minutes, we may be stuck just looking here at Luke Walker. We'll see what the final results look like shortly. We have the rest of our drivers all coming across the line now. As you see it there in the standings, 51 laps in for Luke Walker and Jay Warren. Sean Morardi coming in 3rd there, the final podium spot. Followed by Sosa, Ruiz, Niels in 6th. Cody Pride, Dan Cross 2s, and Wardell round out the top 10. And our final 5 for the points is BDG, Gio, Spencer Marsh, DeBon, BDG, Aaron, Lopez. However, with some drivers leaving, this will be incorrect. What a race. Looking like James Warren was giving it his all there. The final lap. And we'll see if we can get these guys in for a nice little interview. And get their thoughts on the race tonight. And we'll hop in our interview room and get it going for those guys. And we will now see if we can get Luke Walker, James Warren, and Sean Morardi into the chat. Get their thoughts, their feelings, their concerns. But in the meantime, get some nice bangers going on for us here. But as always, it's been a pleasure tonight to commentate this race, to get a nice little insight on our ACC, and it looks like we're now joined by our top 3. We'll go ahead and take it here with Luke Walker. Luke driving a stellar race. What are your thoughts? What was going in your mind with the strategy? You pitted 13 minutes remaining. Was the goal just to go as long as possible as you could there in the race, and just, because you had the gap over Morardi, who was in 3rd. So I mean, what was your strategy plan this afternoon?
That strategy was just to go as long as possible and hopefully and thankfully get the fuel right this time. So and thankfully it paid off. So I thought I'd been testing all week and had the pace, and realised that going as long as possible on a full tank, I was actually a viable strategy, and well, thankfully it paid off for me. I'm absolutely delighted.
Oh yeah, I mean, for sure, it was a great strategy call. Were you afraid at any point there in the closing stages of the race that James Warren may catch up to you, or do you think you had him covered there?
I think the gap was 3 or 4 seconds, maybe 5. I can't remember, but I felt like I had enough. But I did see the gap coming down in the last couple of laps, and he was put a bit of pressure on me. But thankfully, I just had enough to get over the line.
Yeah, dude, and it was a great race win. It was really enjoyable to watch. And to James now, I really looked like you're pushing that last lap. Do you think maybe you've had another lap or two, you might have been able to get there?
Tough because we're teammates, right? Team Flexus. So I wasn't gonna send it up the inside on the last lap and kill both of our races, but I had to be close enough in case he went wide or made some kind of mistake. But no, it was an awesome race in the end. The strategy paid off pretty well for us both.
Yeah, it looked. And speaking of strategy, were you guys surprised at all? Nils, who was leading the race for the first 25 minutes, pitted very early. He's the first one to pit in the top 10. Were you guys shocked and maybe worried at all that he might come back later on at the end of the race?
You might have missed it. He got damaged, we think. He crashed his way at the pits. He crashed his way at the pit so early. And then
I think
we were
at the
like,
third corner on the right, he definitely went off to the left, or at least that's how my game did it on the screen. But I think James had got lag at that exact moment, so I wasn't too sure. But to see him going into the pits, I just assumed it was damage.
Yeah, we may have missed that. We did have some technical difficulties in the first half hour, so yeah, that's something we may have missed. But that explains Neil's stop there. Unfortunate for him. He's looking pretty pacey. Now on to 3rd place, Sean, with the podium. How does it feel, man?
I'm actually really glad that I was able to pull that out. The pace was not really good in the middle of the stint or the middle of the race, and James pulled out an amazing move at the chicane. I don't know if you guys caught that, but I made a slight mistake, and he just clean made a pass right beside me. But I was really happy to finish P3. Congrats to the top 2, Team Flexus. Did not expect that, and that was a really like a job well done to them.
Yeah, very, very solid indeed. And once again, congratulations to all you guys. Luke for the win, James for 2nd, and Sean for 3rd. But that is it for us here in the interview room. Thanks so much, boys. Glad to get your insights on the race.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, Nick.
Hopefully see some more great racing next week. Thank you.
See ya.
All right, and that is all for us tonight here at PPR. And going to be all that we have here for our GT3 Round 2 at Hungary. Nice to get a little bit of insight there too with the top 2 that Nils did indeed have damage there. We saw a little bit of that, explaining why he dropped like he did. But nonetheless, it was a great race to watch. I was very happy to share it with you guys watching. But for everyone here at PPR, we will see you next week. I'll be on the comms Tuesday and Friday, so you'll get to see some more great racing and maybe some more mediocre commentary from myself. But that's all we have here tonight. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week for round number 3 here for ACC. That's all I got for you guys. Peace.